One notebook to rule them all. This is my personal handbook. This is where I'm going to be putting my goals, personal goals, professional goals, familial goals, my desires, learning about myself, gaining some self-knowledge. This is the notebook that I'm going to use to rule myself, to rule my life, to help me get clear on who I am currently and who I want to be in the future. What kind of dad I want to be, what kind of professional I want to be, what kind of family member I want to be, all that good stuff. This is my personal handbook, and I'm hoping that this will turn into like my own personal philosophy, my own personal code of conduct, my own North Star to help me get to where I want to be. Now, a lot of us spend a lot of time making statements for our companies. Hey, here's a vision and mission. We're going to spend all this time. We're going to have all of these little subcommittees in order to come up with our vision statement and cast vision for the future. But we don't spend the time to do that for our own personal lives. I know that's true of me. I have vague notions of where I want to go and who I want to be, but I haven't written a bunch of those down. Maybe I journal about my experiences, or I keep a diary of how I feel or something like that. But I have rarely taken the time to sit down and say, this is who I want to be in 10 years. This is the kind of dad that I want my daughter to say I am, So this is my personal handbook, and this video is going to be a little bit different. This is ParkNotes. I'm Parker Settecase. I'm a philosopher and theologian, and on this channel I help you study, think, and read more deeply. Usually I bring notebook methods to you, philosophical notebook methods that I've already been using, that I've already somewhat mastered at least, and I show you how I've been using them in order to help you study, think, and read more deeply. But this one, I'm not complete on. This is not a finished product, and I'm actually hoping that you guys can help me with it. So I have some categories that I've already been thinking through. I have been using this a little bit here and there. I've teased it in a bunch of videos before, and you guys always say, please do the personal handbook. Please do it. Please do it. Okay, so I'm doing it. This is my first step. This is my rough draft. It's not very filled out. You're going to see this is a Leuchtturm 1917 B6 Plus, and it's a soft cover. So there are 123 pages. I don't even know if I'll need all of that for my own personal handbook, but this is the first draft. I will be editing this and redoing it for sure a lot more. Maybe you don't want to use something as sturdy as this. Maybe you just want, for your first draft, you'll use something like the Field Notes 64-page notebook. That would be great. Use that as well. You can find those in the link in the description. You can get a discount from Field Notes. That's cool. Whatever you want to use. I like a physical notebook, and I'm going to keep it with me. That's the goal. I don't want it so small, like this Leuchtturm Jotter, that I'm going to lose it, or it's going to get bent up, or I have to write really small. I want it substantial, but not so big that I can't put it in my pocket. I can still fit this in my back pocket, and it can definitely come with me in one of my briefcases. So we're talking personal handbooks, personal philosophy of life, who you are, and who you want to be. This video is sponsored by ZocDoc, but we'll talk about that a little bit more in a bit. For now, let's jump in with the kind of categories that I think we should keep in our personal handbooks. Okay, so first up, I have 3 major categories, and I think I can fit all the other categories of my life in these 3, but you guys let me know. Am I missing something that's super glaring, that is like very, very obvious? That could be. First up, I have personal goals. Next up, I have familial goals. And then lastly, I have professional goals. So in the personal, I'm also including spiritual goals. I'm a Christian. I want to grow in my faith as well. So I'm putting that in personal. I thought about maybe putting spiritual as its own category, but I just think there's going to be so much bleed through, so much bleed over from personal and spiritual, that I might as well just put spiritual under the personal goals section. Under the familial goals, this is family. This is my own personal family, my wife and my daughter, and it's also my extended family, my in-laws and my parents and my siblings, and then, extended family out and out and out. What kind of cousin do I want to be to my cousins? What kind of uncle do I want to be to my nephews? What kind of father do I want to be To my daughter, what kind of husband do I want to be? What kind of son-in-law? These kind of things I think are important. I do have feelings about those. I do have thoughts about those, and I do want to act a certain way towards these people. If I've never thought it through, then maybe I'm just on autopilot with these people. And maybe that's not good. Maybe I'm not acting the way I wish or I would ideally act if I had thought it through more and if I were looking over my personal handbook before family parties or something like that. Then I have professional goals, and these include things like, what do I want to be an expert in? Well, I want to be an expert in theology. I got 2 masters in theology, so I think I should be working towards that. I don't want to just drop those. I've worked really hard to get those degrees. So let me continue on in those kind of things. I have a master's in philosophy. I want to be a good philosopher. So I have philosophical goals, goals for being a professional philosopher, goals for being a public philosopher like I'm doing here on this YouTube channel or over on my Substack. So there's going to be some of the professional goals. I also have the subcategory under professional of culture, like what kind of cultural artifacts do I want to be an expert in or more of an expert in than the average person. And so I have things like Dune. Like I want to be the Dune guy. Look, I have it all over my room. I love it. I love this book. This is something that I'm going to read every year. And I listen to the audiobook 2 or 3 times a year. I want to talk to people about Dune, and I want to share philosophical insights that I've gained from Frank Herbert. A lot of people have read Dune, but not as many people read philosophical treatises. So if I can take lessons from Dune and put them in contact with academic philosophy, then I can be mixing and matching my worlds. That's really fun for me. And I can help other people come to study and understand deep philosophical insights from the academy. I'm actually doing that on Substack right now. We're going to start reading Dune in June and some of July. So check out my Substack if you want to come read Dune with me and understand some more of the deep philosophical insights that Frank Herbert gave us. So that's another subcategory. We can look at some of these things more, but I have personal, I have familial, and I have professional goals. Now, I think we should also be including health goals. If your health is out of whack, it's going to impact the rest of your life. So I want to personally include health goals. I think that that's going to go under the category of personal goals. And health is kind of a broad category as well. I'm including both positive goals like fitness goals and jiu-jitsu goals because I do jiu-jitsu. I still wrestle with D1 and D3 wrestling teams, so I'm going to include that as well. But I also think it's going to include negative goals like not being sick. That's kind of hard to determine, but you can do positive things to help yourself not get sick, like taking multivitamins or going to sleep and sleeping for 8 or 9 hours. All these kind of things are going to take forethought. And I know when I'm not managing my days well, when I'm not keeping my goals in sight, or when I'm emphasizing one goal to the detriment of the others, then things get out of whack and I get sick. And then I can't keep up with my personal and professional goals. So I'm going to include health goals in my personal handbook, and I think you probably should too. Now, speaking of health goals, that reminds me of the sponsor for this video, ZocDoc. Okay, so whatever else we put in our personal handbooks, we should also put something on health goals. Think about it. If your body's not doing well, then the rest of your life is going to be a mess. Some of us know this truth more intimately than others, unfortunately. So include some health goals, including getting checkups or seeing that specialist that you know you probably need to see. But if you're anything like me, and I know that you are because you're watching this video, then you'd rather spend your time reading books and writing in notebooks, journaling, thinking, using your mind, and you would not like to use your mind to go and find that specialist, to go out and make a new appointment with a new doctor, or to scour all the different places in your area to find the best doctor for you. But it doesn't have to be that painful. Finding a new doctor or making an appointment with a specialist is now easier than ever thanks to the sponsor for this video, ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free website where you can search, compare, and instantly book high-quality in-network doctors. We're talking over 100,000 healthcare providers across pretty much every specialty: mental health, dental, eye care, dermatology, you name it. Whether it's something you've been putting off or something that just popped up, ZocDoc helps you find someone who fits your needs. I recently found a new doctor. I went in for a physical, and he helped me understand that I actually have celiac disease, and all the autoimmune issues I was having was because I can't eat gluten. Now, that diagnosis was not super fun, but since cutting that out of my diet, my joints feel much, much better. I feel like I'm 10 years younger. Now, I share that just to highlight the fact that finding a doctor you can trust can actually be life transforming, and ZocDoc makes that process easier. You can filter for doctors who accept your insurance, see verified patient reviews, check who's located nearby, and even browse real-time appointment availability. And the best part, appointments on ZocDoc usually happen within 24 to 72 hours, sometimes even the same day. You don't even need to talk to anyone. Just book an appointment in a few clicks. So if you've been putting off those appointments like I was, consider this your sign. Your health matters, and it should be part of your life goals. So go to ZocDoc.com/ParkNotes or click the link in my description to find and book a top-rated doctor today. Big thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring this video. Now let's jump back in with the other categories of your own personal handbook. All right, so let's take a look at what I have so far for my personal handbook. Again, it's a Leuchtturm 1917. So I always write myself epigrams or aphorisms or dictums in the beginning. This helps me set the tone for what the notebook is going to be. So this is my personal handbook. It's the first draft, started in 2025. It's a compendium of goals and resolutions for reflection and habituation. Habituation being habit formation. I want to form these good habits. I want to know myself, and I want to rule myself. So here I have those three goals: personal, which includes spiritual, familial, and professional. What do I want to be an expert in? I also have these important questions. Who am I? What do I want to be like? What do I love? What do I dislike? What do I hate? Who do I want to be? My goals, and my personal code of conduct. This is going to take a long time to work out, but I think it's actually worth it because this is the most important stuff in my entire life. So why not reflect on it more? Why not take the time to make a rough draft and then go through and finalize it? So initially I started with the heady stuff, the professional stuff, so theology. I want to be an expert in the Trinity. I'm a Trinitarian Christian. I think that the two are actually synonymous, but I am a Christian. I want to know the doctrine of the Trinity inside and out, and I want to be able to convey the mystery and the truth of it to people I teach. So that's one of the goals. I want to master the doctrine of the Trinity. And where am I at now? Well, I am a Trinitarian Mysterianism. I think that we can affirm the doctrine of the Trinity, that God is three persons, one essence, and I think it's a warranted or justified mystery because of the doctrine of incomprehensibility. So I'm not going to talk a whole ton on that. You can check out my course on systematic theology if you want to hear more about that. But the tag is theology. It's under the professional goal, and then the subcategory or tag, I guess, is the Trinity. So here's another really quick entry from the professional category. This is the subcategory of philosophy, and particularly the philosophy of mind, and even more particularly substance dualism. I want to master the topic of substance dualism. I want to know arguments for and against it. I want to come to land on a particular model of substance dualism. And as of today, I believe in something like J.P. Moreland's Thomistic substance dualism. So these are my goals, and this is where I'm at currently. I have some more professional theological stuff. This is just a guiding principle on how I want to preach and what I do and don't want to say. I don't like when people ham up the mystery when they don't need to. Hey, there are theologians who know some of this stuff. So I don't want to earn cheap points with my congregants by saying, oh, I don't know, I'm just like you guys. No, I've studied this. I should know more than you. And here is what the theologians are saying. Let me call you up to something higher instead of saying, oh, we just totally don't know. Of course, if I don't know, I'll admit that, but I'm not going to play up my ignorance in order to score cheap points. So I have some more professional stuff. Here's a personal entry on character. I'll probably have a bunch of entries on character, and so I'll need to consolidate all of those in the second draft, third draft, whatever. But I am resolved to not be a snide, know-it-all, a-hole. I don't know everything. That is important for me. I genuinely need to write that down because it's tempting to be a snide jerk. Here's another personal one. This entry was really big for me. This is what things give me life, energy, what kind of things recharge me. Now this is goofy. Like I'm kind of a weird guy. So looking for turtles is something that really energizes me. I used to look for turtles with my dad since I was 5 years old, and I've been doing it ever since by myself with other people. With my dad, I go out and look for turtles with my wife now, and I'm going to teach my daughter how to look for turtles. I love finding them. I love catching them. I put them back after I take some pictures. That is something that re-energizes me. I love fishing. I don't ever do this anymore, but I miss it. I miss looking up musky lures and largemouth bass lures and actually going out and finding them early morning, fishing. I miss it. I need to remind myself that I like this because I get so caught up in my work, so caught up in YouTube, so caught up in reading and my professional life that I forget I'm an outdoorsman. I love going outdoors. Make time for that to recharge yourself. I love training jujitsu. I love visiting comic book stores, Barnes & Noble with my family. I love grilling steaks, and I really love feeding my animals. These are things that recharge me. I know it's a little bit weird. You're going to have different things, but find those things that give you life. And I don't say that to be trite. I mean things that make life worth living. If you are feeling down in the dumps and depressed and like nothing is going your way, look back on your list of things that recharge you and give you energy and see maybe you have been neglecting those things. And that would make sense. If you're not doing the things that actually recharge you and make you want to live, well, it makes sense that you're feeling that way. Then I have some familial things like what kind of father figure do I want to be? I want to be present in my daughter's world, in her life. I want to teach her the things that I love and hopefully teach her how to love those things too. I can't force all of my loves on her, but I can try. I want to show her why I love these things. So catching frogs and turtles, why I love owls so much, and the migratory ducks that come through Chicagoland, and spotting deer and hawks. Like, I want her to like the kind of things in nature that I like. I don't really expect her to get into the same academic stuff that I like. I have no clue whether she's going to like the sports that I like, but at least I can pass on some of this nature stuff to her. I have a list of things that I like to buy. There's a bunch of stuff that I don't like to buy. I hate buying gas and stuff like that. But there's some things that I enjoy doing when I have a little bit of extra money that's disposable. I started a list of the kind of gifts that I like to give. Books, inside jokes, notebooks. Inside jokes meaning like if we talked about a certain item and then I buy that for you and it makes you laugh, that gives me a lot of joy. So I need to fill out this list more. And then when I'm thinking about buying a gift for one of my buddies, like big birthdays, 35, 40, whatever, I'll go down this list. When I'm thinking about my wife, what am I going to get her for Christmas? I'll go down this list. And this will help me be the kind of gift giver that I want to be. And so here we have my personal code of conduct. This needs to be worked on much, much more. This is going to be really important for me. I'm including things like wise sententiae or sententiae, like sow mallows but never eat them. This is the Pythagorean symbol number 13 from the Pythagoreans. This means sow mallows, be kind to others, but not necessarily to yourself. Don't eat the mallows yourself. You can be hard on yourself. Not overly hard. You don't have negative self-talk or anything like that, but have some high expectations for yourself and be merciful and gracious to others. I have this saying from Cornelius Van Til, suaviter in modo, fortior in re. That is kind or smooth or gentle in your mode of presentation, but fortier, but fortified, but strong in the content that you are presenting. So you want to have like really good, hard, strong truth content that you're conveying to people, but convey it in a way that is winsome and persuasive, not hard and rough around the edges and mean. I have things like don't take yourself too seriously, laugh off an offense, don't throw punches. That's actually really important for me. That's why I do jiu-jitsu. I would love to wrap somebody up and kind of just laugh it off until the cops come, rather than punch someone in the temple and something terrible happens. I'm going to have a lot about responding to offense because that's something I've historically had a hard time with, and I want to become a different kind of person. Be quick to show mercy. Don't impulse buy stuff. That's a key one for me. So this is my personal code of conduct thus far. I just started it the other day, and this will probably take up most of the personal handbook. This thing needs a lot more work, but I figured if I never start it, I'll never start it. So let me start it here and then get your guys' opinions, get your thoughts, get your recommendations. What else should I add to my personal handbook? And does it make sense? Do you have enough of the concept in order to start your own personal handbook today. This is more of a crowdsourced idea. I have the general outlook in mind. I've been thinking it through, but I could definitely use some help. All right, that's going to do it for the video. If you guys made it this far, then leave me a thinking emoji in the comments. And again, leave me your recommendations, and I'll catch you guys next time.